Is Zach LaVine about to leave the Chicago Bulls? The trade rumors are hotter than ever, and today, we're breaking down everything you need to know about where LaVine could land and what it means for the Bulls' future. Could he be headed to the Knicks, Lakers, or Heat? Or will Chicago double down and try to build around him? We're talking potential trades, team fits, and the future of the NBA's most explosive scorer. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. If you are a true American and proud of it, show your support by hitting that subscribe button. Let's start together, keep the spirit alive. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you're a fan of NBA trade rumors, especially when it comes to one of the most electrifying players in the league, then you're going to love today's video. We're talking about none other than Zach LaVine and the ongoing speculation about his future with the Chicago Bulls. The trade rumors surrounding LaVine have been buzzing around for a while now, and it looks like we're inching closer to something happening. In this video, we're going to dive deep into everything that's going on with LaVine. We'll cover his performance, why the Bulls might consider trading him, the teams interested in making a move, and of course, what it all means for the future of the franchise. But before we get started, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and give that like button a big smack. It really helps support the channel and lets me know you want more content like this. And as always, feel free to drop a comment below with your thoughts. Let's get into it. Zach LaVine is one of those players who has been a rising star for a long time now. When he first entered the league as the 13th overall pick in the 2014 draft, not many expected him to turn into the scorer and all-around offensive threat that he is today. But over the last few seasons, LaVine has absolutely blossomed into one of the top shooting guards in the NBA. The guy can do it all. He's got a silky smooth jumper, he can hit from deep, he's explosive on the fast break, and his ability to create his own shot is something very few players can match. And don't get me started on his dunking ability. LaVine's athleticism is off the charts. He's been the face of the Chicago Bulls since he was traded there back in 2017. Over the years, LaVine has been the centerpiece of the offense, even during some tough rebuilding years. In 2022, the Bulls made the decision to re-sign him to a max contract, locking him in through 2026. At that time, it seemed like Chicago was ready to build around LaVine as the cornerstone of the future, especially with the addition of DeMar DeRozan and Nikola Vucevic. The team appeared ready to compete again after a few years of mediocrity. But here's the thing, despite the excitement and the big names on the roster, the Bulls haven't been able to live up to expectations. Sure, there was a brief moment in the 2021 season when the team looked promising, but since then, they've struggled to find consistency. Last season, the Bulls hovered around the play-in tournament for most of the year, and while they managed to make the playoffs, they were quickly eliminated, yet again proving that they weren't anywhere near championship contention. This leaves us with a lot of questions about the direction of the team moving forward. So, what does all this mean for Zach LaVine? As great as LaVine has been, it's clear that he's not enough to get the Bulls to that next level. And the Bulls front office knows this. If they're serious about competing for a title in the future, it's likely they'll need to shake things up, and trading LaVine could be one of the most logical moves. The problem is, LaVine's situation is complicated. He's on a long-term contract, which gives the Bulls leverage in trade talks, but it also means they're not exactly in a rush to deal him unless the right offer comes along. That brings us to the next big question: where would LaVine go if the Bulls decide to pull the trigger on a trade? This is where things start to get even more interesting because LaVine is one of those players who would immediately make any team better. A player like him, who can score at will, space the floor, and provide serious firepower in crunch time situations, would be a valuable asset for almost every contender in the league. We've seen the rumors swirling about a number of teams, and there are a few that stand out as potential destinations. The first team that comes to mind is the New York Knicks. The Knicks have been hovering just outside of being a true contender for a while now. They've had some success, especially last year when they made a deep playoff run, but it's clear they still need more star power to get over the hump. Julius Randle is a solid piece, and Jalen Brunson has been a revelation, but the Knicks need that third guy, the legit all-star who can help carry the scoring load when it matters most. That's where LaVine comes in. The Knicks have assets to offer. They've got young players like R.J. Barrett, who, while inconsistent, still has a lot of potential, and a bunch of future draft picks that could be valuable for the Bulls as they look to rebuild. The Knicks are also a team in win-now mode, so moving some of those picks and Barrett for a proven scorer like LaVine makes a lot of sense. Imagine a starting five in New York with Brunson, LaVine, and Randle. That's a potent offense right there, and LaVine would definitely help them contend for a top spot in the East. Another team that's been linked to LaVine is the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers have been a roller coaster for the last few years, with LeBron James aging and Anthony Davis's injury history always looming large. They've tried to patch things up by adding role players like Austin Reeves and D'Angelo Russell, but they still need more firepower. LeBron and Davis can only do so much at this stage in their careers, and adding LaVine would give the Lakers a much-needed scoring punch to complement their superstars. The problem here is the Lakers' lack of trade assets. They don't have a ton of young players that would entice the Bulls, and their draft pick situation is a bit tricky too. But they do have Russell Westbrook's expiring contract, which could be an intriguing piece for Chicago. The Lakers might also throw in players like Austin Reeves, Max Christie, or Malik Beasley to sweeten the deal. It would require a little creativity from both sides, but a trade to Los Angeles could make a lot of sense for both teams if they want to make a playoff push. Plus, if you're Zach LaVine, the chance to play with LeBron James and Davis on a team with championship aspirations is hard to turn down. Then, there's the Miami Heat. The Heat are another team that's always in the mix when it comes to acquiring talent. They've been competitive for years, with Jimmy Butler leading the charge, but they've lacked the kind of offensive firepower that a guy like LaVine would provide. Miami's roster is built around defense, but adding LaVine would give them the offensive spark they need, especially in clutch situations. They've been linked to LaVine in the past, and this could be their opportunity to pull the trigger. The Heat also have some intriguing assets, like Tyler Herro, who would give the Bulls a young shooter to build around, along with a few draft picks to add some future depth. Herro has shown flashes of being a really solid player, and he could thrive in a larger role in Chicago. Adding LaVine to a starting lineup that already features Butler and Bam Adebayo would give Miami a potent trio that could seriously challenge for the top spot in the East. Now, let's take a moment to consider the Chicago Bulls side of things. If they do decide to trade LaVine, what exactly are they looking for? Well, first off, the Bulls are going to want young talent, especially players who can fit into their long-term vision. The days of signing expensive free agents and trying to build through veteran talent appear to be behind them. They need to build through the draft and player development. So, getting high upside players in return, like R.J. Barrett or Tyler Herro, would be huge for them. Second, the Bulls need more defensive-oriented players. While LaVine is a scoring machine, he's not known for his defense. If Chicago is going to make a trade, they'll likely want to bring in someone who can contribute on that end of the floor. This is why a player like OG Anunoby from the Toronto Raptors would make a lot of sense, although he's likely off limits unless a larger trade package is put together. Anunoby is one of the best wing defenders in the NBA, and adding him would help the Bulls build a more balanced roster. In addition to young talent and defensive help, the Bulls will also need draft picks. A lot of them. If Chicago is going to trade away their star, they need to get value back in the form of future assets. The Bulls are in a position where they have to prioritize long-term growth. Draft picks could be key in bringing in the next generation of players to complement their current core, which includes guys like DeMar DeRozan, Nikola Vucevic, and Patrick Williams. So, to recap, what happens if the Bulls decide to pull the trigger on a LaVine trade? They're looking for a mix of young, versatile players who can develop over time, some key defensive assets to balance out the roster, and future draft picks that can help them restock their talent pool. LaVine could potentially land with one of several teams, whether that's the Knicks, Lakers, or Heat, and while his departure would hurt in the short term, it could set the Bulls up for a brighter future. It's definitely going to be interesting to see how this plays out. The LaVine trade rumors are only going to heat up as we get closer to the trade deadline, and there's a chance that we could see some big moves happen in the near future. The NBA is always unpredictable, and with LaVine's skill set and market value, anything can happen. But enough from me. What do you all think? Should the Bulls pull the trigger and trade LaVine, or should they hold on to him and try to build a contender around their current core? And which team would you love to see LaVine play for? Let me know in the comments below. I love hearing your thoughts. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you never miss any NBA updates.